Hey guys, it's Pastor Tom from the Shepherd's Fellowship, and we are on day 4, I believe it is, of our Bible study, Bedhead Bible Study on James. So I'm hoping you're opening up your Bibles, you got your journal ready. We're going to James chapter 1, verse 9. As you're turning your pages, today its hat is Ed. So that is our sponsor today, unofficially. Ed is an incredible TV show that was on TV from the year 2000 to 2004 that I would love to turn you on to, but unfortunately, I hardly ever play it in syndication, and it's not on DVD because of legal battles over the music they used in the TV show, so you really can't watch it. So unfortunately, it's just in my memories and some other people's memories, as we miss it so very badly. Anyways, so that's all about Ed. Let's talk about James. Going out in verse 9, we have this. He says, "Let the lowly brother, let the lowly sister boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grass he will pass away. For the sun rises with its scorching heat, and withers the grass, its flowers fall, and its beauty perishes. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits." I think when we just read this straight out casually, I think the main character that stands out is the rich man, more so than the lowly brother or the lowly sister. And I think the reason for that is just because, again, I think money is one of the biggest things we struggle with. We want more. You know what I mean? Like whenever we get to a point that we have more money or we did achieve a goal, then we just have a new goal and we want more. And we're worried about retirement, and we're worried about vacations, and we're worried about resources and toys, and we want a new boat, and we want new jet skis, and there's all these things that we want. We're never going to be at a place where we have enough. And according to James, it's like, okay, look, when you're rich, that looks good, and it does have benefits, and it's just like a field. There's beauty in that field, but don't forget to keep pretty humble about that, and don't let that money or that desire become an idol before your God, because it's going to be gone someday. Like at worst case scenarios, he's talking about that like the flower, you will pass away. Someday you will accumulate all this stuff, you hope, and then you'll die. And then let's say your only child becomes like the prodigal son and just goes crazy and spends it all on foolishness. And you spent 50, 60, 70 years building something that's gone in a year and a half. We see it all the time with people who win the lottery that just blow it and it's gone. It's just so easy to do. And maybe it's not, some ungrateful kid. Maybe you get sick and your insurance plan is not quite as good as you thought it was going to be. And you go into the hospital, now you get $10,000 of bills that you have to pay for the medical bills. So I had a buddy that had his car parked out on the street. He had just gotten it. He had it, I think, for like a month. And a couple people who were high stole a car, were flying down his road, smashed into his car, totaled the car they were in. They ran away. I don't know if they ever did catch him. And he's all of a sudden, just because he was sleeping in bed, is $2,500 in debt, because there's a difference between what the insurance company says it's now worth, they pulled it off the lot, versus what he owes. And it's just like, oh God! I mean, like he's not a rich dude. This is a big deal. This was his first like new car, and somebody else's decisions took that away from him in an instant. It happens all the time. Thankfully, in his case, the dealership who has resources got him a new car, forgave some of his debt from the first car, and he ended up being restored because he was praying about it and asking God to move, and God moved a lot of things into place. But outside, a lot of the things that we do, what we're trying to control, it's just uncontrollable. The Bible tells us that godliness with contentment is great gain. And a lot of us are not content with what God gives us financially. Now, what you notice here is that he's not downing the rich man. He's not saying that he's sinning. It's not anything within this that says that the rich man became rich because he was a cheat or a tax collector, or was tearing somebody else down so that he could build himself up. He said, you're rich, just stay humble about it. Remember what that resource is there for. You're a steward of those finances. And I'm glad you have them, but make sure that you're putting God first in your finances, making sure that you have generosity in your finances, make sure that you're not just storing things up that are going to decay and rust and be stolen when you die, but store up the treasures in heaven by using that resource as a good steward to make a difference today instead of waiting for what might or might not happen tomorrow. I mean, I've even been at conferences for pastors where pastors are standing on the stage saying, make sure you have multiple sources of income so that you're always financially blessed and financially rich. So if something goes down here, you've got this to step up here. It's foolishness. It's not bad to do, but if that's where your hope and your treasure is, it's foolishness. You know, God, we work hard. Jenny and I work very hard to keep our debt down, to be able to have freedom in our lives, to be able to follow God in things that He wants us to do ministry-wise, and also to bless our family. And there's been seasons that have been tighter than others, but we just want to be good stewards within it. God's always been gracious, but I really have no reason to put my trust in my finances. It's just so easily up and down, you know. And so anyways, if you're a person living for riches, if you're a person living for that foundation of some money so that you can finally arrive and that you can finally have security, you're going to find that that's not going to be as strong as foundation as what you think. Verses here that James is talking to the lowly brother, the lowly sister, boast in the exhortation. Again, this is writing to a group of people that have gone through and lost a lot. And so probably there's more lowly brothers and sisters in this conversation than rich brothers or sisters. And he's saying, don't take and be discouraged. Trust God. He's the one that provides. I know you sacrificed, but you've done so in a way that is for the kingdom and for your future within your eternity of the kingdom. So boast in your exhortation, but boast in what your hope is all about. When we have things stripped from our lives, we are more likely to draw closer into God. When we have our false security pulled back and the curtains open, we are more likely to lean into God. Some of you guys have heard me preach on structure versus exile before, and that in the structure, when everything makes sense and we've got solutions to everything, it's great and it's grand, but we tend not to think about our provider as much as when we do when things are stripped away and we need Him to eat, to have a roof over our head, to be able to solve a relational issue, to be able to provide for our family. We lean into Him more when we need Him. And sometimes I think He puts us in a place of need because we need to be reminded that we need Him. We need to grow in that struggle. At the beginning of this, count it joy, my brothers, when you go through struggles of many kind. Sometimes you lose stuff so you can find what really matters. And God is a good God, and God really wants you to draw close. Let me put it this way, and then I'll put this to bed. How often do you thank God for your job? Whatever job you have right now, just how often do you thank Him for that provision? We don't always think about that. But if you walked into your job tomorrow and they fired you, or they laid you off, how quickly would you be on your knees saying, God, I need your help? That provision is gone. I need your help. Sometimes He draws us close to remind us how badly we need Him and how good He is. So that's some thoughts for today. We'll finish up the week tomorrow, and I hope you join us. Thanks, guys. Be blessed.